Today is March 26th, 2020, and today marks the 15th anniversary of the arrival of New Who, Season 1, Episode 1, Rose, with Krista Eccleston taking on the titular role of the Doctor, and the aforementioned Rose being played by Billie Piper. I can even remember where I was when this aired, because after 16 years away from terrestrial television, Doctor Who was returning, and it was a very exciting moment for a lot of us geeks and sci-fi fans that had been brought up on this television show. And so I was living with my brother at the time, and we both sat down in the front room and watched it together. And I recall thinking at the end of it, ooh, wasn't it great to have Doctor Who back? So here we are, 15 years later. Things are slightly different in the world of New Who, but this is a positive video, and what I'm going to do now is I'm going to review the episode like I would review everything else. Hi everyone, it's Az here from HeelvsBabyface. Yes, I can't believe it. It's been 15 years since the relaunch of New Who. March 26th, 2005 saw this return back to our screens here in the UK. And I gotta say, for people like me, very exciting time. Yeah boy. So I thought, what fitting way to celebrate the 15th anniversary than giving it one of my reviews. One of my sassy ass reviews. Where I'm going to highlight the stuff that I like, and I'm going to poke the thumb and fingers into the stuff that I don't like, and all that kind of stuff. And then I'll give it a conclusion at the end. So, with that said, you know how things go now. Let's just get straight into it. So we start off with this wonderful shot of space, which pans across rather seductively to the planet Earth. And you're expecting this to immediately be the introduction of the new Doctor. You're expecting either to see the TARDIS go past or something happen here. But no, immediately RTD focuses on the highlight of the show, which is Rose. This episode, even though it's introducing the Doctor, is all about the companion, because the companion is the human person that goes along with the Doctor, and the companion is how we relate to everything that's going on. The wonder, the freak show, the scariness, the majesty, the whole job lot, because, of course, the Doctor is alien. And we have a very regular girl. I think Rose is meant to be 19 in the first episode, and Billie Piper wasn't much older herself. She was only around 22, I think, at the time anyway, so she was still very, very young. And we see a late teen with a very messy room in a council estate in London, and it's a wonderful introduction. It's a really interesting introduction, because we've already, in the right way, had our expectations subverted with not getting that immediate reveal of the Doctor, without getting that immediate reveal of the TARDIS or something space related. We just get a regular person going about their daily business. And that is exactly what the first section of the film shows. Now, there's some very interesting shots here, because not only is it just seeing the hustle and bustle of London, but the camera focuses quite a fair bit on the windows, the shot windows, and more specifically, the plastic mannequins, because, of course, it's foreshadowing. It's foreshadowing the villain of the episode, which is going to be the Autons. So when you're first watching it, you can just be forgiven for letting it pass you by. But when you've seen the episode, etc., and then you go back and rewatch it, you see all that subtle imagery being thrusted upon you very early doors. And she just goes about her daily business. She's a young girl. She's managed to get herself a job in a department store in London. I think it's called Harris's or something. I think it's meant to be like a piss take of Harrods, you know. But that said, she's just wearing bog standard clothing. I think she would have been wearing something a little bit more posh if it was Harrods. And it just goes through her regular day. You know, she's cleaning up, she's doing a little bit of this and that. And then before she is about to leave, excited to leave, clocking out bang on time, as you do when you're that age. She's given a sack full of money. It's the lottery money to give to the chief engineer. So she goes down into the basement. The tone immediately shifts. We've had this very upbeat Murray Gold music. Murray, so good to hear your score just coursing through this episode, carrying the exciting pieces, the scary pieces. Scary with inverted commas. Maybe for some kids. And then she goes into the room, this room here, turns on the lights because it's pitch black, and then we see this room full of plastic mannequins which suddenly start to come to life. Some of them, now you can tell which mannequins are just standard mannequins, and then you can tell which ones are the autons because they have slightly more definition about them because they got peeps in them. But of course, they're just living plastic of the autons. So she immediately thinks it's some sort of joke. She's been the butt of some sort of joke, which is, again, really clever, really down to earth. Because if it happened to you in reality, you wouldn't just be like, ah, scream, I'm being attacked by living plastic and run off. No, you're like, which idiots are doing this? Which fools are doing this? So she gets backed up into a corner. Who holds out his hand and says to her, run, and grabs Rose's hand, pulls her through, and of course we are introduced 5, nearly 6 minutes into the episode to the Doctor. So he gets in a lift with her, pulls off the arm of one of the autons, and Rose says the clever line of, is this a student thing? And he's like, why? And she's like, I don't know. He's like, why? It's like, well, you know, getting that many people dressed up, being silly in the same place, got to be students. And he's like, that's good, that. You know, because he was, when I say he was testing, he was wondering why she would have that reasoning, and her reasoning was actually logical. So it was proving that Rose is actually quite a logical thinker, or even though she's young, even though she's just working in a department store, you can tell by the way that the episode progresses anyway, that she aspires to more. She wants more in her life. She's not really happy with her boyfriend, Mickey. He's there. He's available. He kind of passes the time. But, you know, he doesn't exactly do too much. He's not exactly the most attentive boyfriend. He'd rather be down the pub, having a drink, watching the football. You know, you can tell all these little subtle things. She clearly wasn't particularly happy at work. And then her life gets turned upside down. Not in a Fresh Prince of Bel-Air kind of Bel-Air. Bel-Air kind of a way. Well, that's Freudian. So the Doctor drops Rose off outside and then tells her that he's going to, with this bomb, run for your life. He's going to place a bomb on the rooftop for the antenna and destroy the antenna. And then I might die, but don't worry about it. You just go off and eat your chips. And then he shuts the door, then he comes back through the door and he's just like, oh, by the way, I'm the Doctor. I'm Rose. Run for your life. It's a great little introduction to Christopher Eccleston's Doctor. And immediately, it kind of puts a smile on your face. You realise that you're in for a fun adventure here. And I think that's really important with shows like this. And I'm upbeat video, but obviously it's sorely missing in this day and age. Just great, wholesome fun. Little smiles on your face, little smirks. There's plenty of here for the kids, plenty of here for the adults as well. So Rose runs away and then turns around and the explosion on the top of the building happens. And then she runs back home, running past the blue box, the TARDIS. So she's still got the arm that the doctor pulled off, the orton. Easy, I know I said, but easy. And then Jackie, her mum, was more interested in bragging to her mates, really, now that she knows that her daughter is absolutely safe, bragging away to her mates than she is actually caring for her daughter, who's, clearly a bit shocked, a bit stunned about events that have happened. Mickey, who we're introduced to in the beginning montage, she goes out and has lunch with Mickey. They're eating a sandwich by Trafalgar Square, I think. Which is quite weird. Her boyfriend would be Mickey. I mean, I thought diversity was a created thing in 2016, according to some people. Upbeat video. Martha Jones. Upbeat video. Okay, let's just get into it. So, her mum's rambling on about compensation and people wanting to interview her, give her 500 quid for an interview. She's more interested in what exactly transpired. What did she witness? Who did she just meet? What was she a part of? Lots of different things. The chief engineer, Wilson! I think Wilson, maybe. Of course, being killed by the Autons as well. And Mickey just wants to go down the pub and watch the football. So everything's a bit confusing. She tells Mickey to drop off the arm, and he does. He chucks it into a bin downstairs, and then we go back to 7:30 the next morning, which is when she gets up for work. But this time, of course, no work to go to. Building got blowed up. So we see her in bed. Nothing to do now. What is her life coming to? I've got no work now. Got no work, got no money coming in. I've got a boring boyfriend. My she's lovely, but she's, bit of a pain. As all kids think when they're that age. And my room's an absolute pigsty. Rose, clean up your room. Clean room, clean head. That's why I've been doing this here. My room's looking great. So, she hears the rattle of the cat flap. This is one of my favourite bits of the episode, if not my favourite bit of the episode. Well, actually, not my favourite, but there's a bit coming up soon, which I'll get into. And the cat flap makes a noise, and she thinks it's stray cats coming in. She says, "Why didn't you? I told you to seal up the cat flap, Mum." She's like, "I did." And there are screws on the floor, so somebody has been unscrewing the cat flap, and then she opens up the cat flap, and bingo, we got the doctor outside. And he's like, "What are you doing here?" And she's like, "I live here." Then he's like, "Well, why'd you do that?" She's like, "'Cause I do." And then he scans her to see if she's plastic, and he goes, "No, bonehead." And then walks off, and she's like, "Oi, come in here. So we get the classic scene with Jackie Tyler. "Oh, there's a strange man in my bedroom." Yes, there is. Anything could happen. Nah. Oh no, I'm laughing because the episode's fun. Remember fun? Sorry, upbeat video. Remember what fun was? So I'm laughing. I'm chuckling away. We're 12 minutes into the episode, and I'm just chuckling away. All the characters have been introduced to us, and have been introduced to us very well indeed. We've got a really good grasp on Rose, and I tell you what, the chemistry immediately between Eccleston and Piper, bang, right there, absolutely fantastic. A mark of two very good actors. And then Jackie, just brilliant. Camille, just absolutely hilarious as Jackie Tyler. She's amazing. You got a very firm grip, hey, of what Jackie Tyler's like as well. And then Mickey, yeah, he's kind of a regular chap, just getting by, not really in any way, shape or form aspirational, bit of a coward. He quite likes his dolly bird on his arm, so you get a very good grasp of who the characters are. But he is kind. So she drags the doctor in, and she wants to talk to him about what's going on. I think I've marked myself here when I've banged myself on the face for Bonehead. I'll say it's the, the bug. And then the Auton arm, had crawled back through the cat flap. So was it the Auton and not the sonic screwdriver that undid the screws with its arm and then got into the cat flap? Bang, there you go. And another great comedic scene, but well played. Because Rose thinks that Mickey didn't dump the arm off, and the doctor's dicking about with the arm, and it's the arm throttling him. So she's just like, oh. I told Mickey to get rid of that, and she's just putting the tea down and carrying on talking, and the doctor's like, ah. And then the arm jumps onto Rose, and because this is an arm, you just think these actors are there pretending that they're being attacked by this living plastic. It must be quite hilarious for them. Then we get what is my favourite bit of the episode, where Rose and the Doctor have an incredibly long monologue, and my Kit Kat is coming on the beg for some treats. You're gonna have to wait, sweetie. You're gonna have to wait, Pookie. You're gonna have to wait, baby. And so they have this one shot. We're talking Goodfellas type long conversation as they walk through the estate. And it's really good. And it starts off with the Doctor saying, hey, do you think the world revolves around you? And then it ends with Rose saying, hey, do you think the world revolves around you? And we'll get back to that soon. So he's like, yeah, kind of. And it's a really, really good conversation. And they do it very well indeed. Great banter back and forth. And like I said, the chemistry is just cemented between the two characters from the get-go. Wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. So he tells her the truth. He tells her what's going on. And he does say, do you believe me? She's like, no. He's like, but you're still listening. So he knows that there's an intrigue there. She's got an intrigue. And then we have the just beautiful bit where he takes her hand and he tells her, you know this about we're spinning around. I can feel, the world's spinning around at 1,000 miles an hour, and then we're spinning around the sun at 67,000 miles an hour, and I can feel it. And it's just really kind of powerful, because obviously we know that the Doctor's alien. Rose doesn't. So we have this wonderful sort of alien moment with the Doctor, because we're like, I bet he can. I bet this Time Lord actually can feel, literally, the spin, the rotation, the speed, the whole lot. So it's just a great little bit. And Billie Piper's acting as Rose was just absolutely spot on. She played such a down-to-earth character, such a believable character and relatable character. And I think that's why Rose became such a fan favourite. Because you really could. I mean, she epitomised the human aspect of the show. Absolutely epitomised it. And continue to do so in future episodes. Particularly when she sees the destruction of Earth. It's not just fun time. She's very moved by the destruction. Anyway. So he wanders off to his box. She wanders off as well. And then we hear the classic TARDIS engines. She runs back. It's gone. And she's kind of like, what is going on with my life at the minute? Things are weird. So she's like, hey, Mickey, can I borrow your computer, please? And he's like, yeah. Don't read my emails. Which kind of makes you think maybe Mickey, he's got his girlfriend, but maybe he's got some communications with some other gals. So she goes onto the World Wide Web, as it was called, and then we get to see how crappy the internet actually was in 2005 compared with now. Oh, the internet was so much better. Websites were so much better in 2000. And no. No, they weren't. Neither was the internet speeds. So she puts various things into the search engine to try and find anything out about the Doctor, and then eventually puts Dr. Blue Box, and she's given the details of a conspiracy theorist. So she gets Mickey to drive her, and then she goes to his house. So great, the kid made me laugh here. My God, how old's he? If he was like 14 here, he's 29 now. 29, married, kids. Poor bastard. He's there thinking, oh, gonna play me some Lego and some video games later. Married with kids now, locked in. And she's like, is your dad in? And he's like, I'm here about the his internet stuff. She's like, Dad, it's one of your nutters. Oh my God, fun! Remember fun? Fun's really good. Great fun episode. Laughing myself stupid at the moment. So she comes in. I think is it Clive? I'm trying to remember. I think it might be Clive. And he goes into the various images of the Doctor which he's got, and then he pulls back from this image, and he realizes that it's Rose realizes that it was actually at the Kennedy assassination. So she comes up with again a logical answer. She's, oh, is that his father? You know, it's just a bit of logic, and he shows us some more pictures. The Doctor, and it's the same Doctor every time. Same Doctor every time. Then he, while they're conversing, the wheelie bin comes up to the car with Mickey in it. And then Mickey's just like, all right, who's having a joke on me? So he goes to the bin, opens it up, no one inside, then tries to get away. Got some nice janky special effects that only Doctor Who knows how to do. As he's like stuck on the living plastic, and then it eats him and burps. And it's just another little chuckle moment. So she says to the guy, who do you think the Doctor is? I think he's immortal. I think he's an alien, and wherever he goes, death follows and all this lot. And then she gets back in the car. She's like, yeah, he's a nutter. He's a complete nutter conspiracy theorist. And then we have Plastic Mickey. I'm amazed every time I see this. I'm just amazed that Rose never said anything. Rose, look. Your boyfriend either went out, okay, when you were speaking to this guy, and bought a lot of makeup, and then started to paint himself because he got that bored, or something's up, sweetheart. But it's always made me chuckle. So they go to a restaurant, and he looks slightly more normal now in the restaurant than he did in the car. And he's trying to get the information, because, of course, this is the Auton replica of Mickey now. Trying to get the information out of her about what the Doctor's planning. And then the waiter comes with the champagne, and he's like, champagne? He's like, no, I didn't order any. And then he goes around to Rose, champagne? No, didn't order any. And then he's like, does nobody want this bottle of champagne? And then the camera pans up, and we realise that it's the Doctor. He's pretending to be... Look at those special effects. He's pretending to be the waiter, and then he pops the cork into Mickey's head, which is absorbed. It's 2005. Leave them alone. Although that looks like 1985. Fine. No, it's Doctor Who. You just got to accept it. Unless it's Whittaker, in which case you take the piss. So he yanks the head off Mickey. Rose does a good thing again. You have to pay attention to all the clever things that Rose does in this episode, which leads to the Doctor giving her the invitation to join him on the TARDIS at the end. She's thought logically. She's engaged him in conversation. She's curious. She wasn't frightened away by his discussion of the Autons, even though she said she didn't believe him. And then she tries to clear out the restaurant as quickly as possible, hits the fire alarm to get people out. So the episode sets up very cleverly Rose being a very intelligent, on-the-ball person, even if it's just street smarts, even if she isn't, when it comes to, intelligent when it comes to mathematics or English or literature or history or whatever, street smarts. She's got great common sense, she's got good instincts, and, to me, sometimes that's much better than being intelligent, intelligent in a more classical way. So they clear out. This is another wonderful part of the episode because this is so human. And I think it was this part that made me fall in love. Made me realise that I'm going to absolutely love this incarnation of Doctor Who with Billie Piper and Christopher Eccleston. Because the Doctor just walks into the box. She's like, quick, we've got to go through here. He's like, nah, let's get in here. She's like, it's a wooden box. So she's still trying to get out. She can't. So she runs into the TARDIS. You don't see the interior yet. You just see the shock on her face. Again, great direction, great shooting. She runs out the box. She runs round the box because obviously we know that the TARDIS is larger on the inside than the outside. We know the ongoing joke, but she doesn't. And then she runs back in. He plugs the head into the console and then he gives her attention and he's just like, right, where do you want to start? And she's like, it's bigger on the inside than the outside. Yeah. It's alien. Yeah. Are you alien? Yes. So you can, he's being very serious because he understands the implications of this. And this is the great dynamic that I think, all the Doctors apart from Workers, because she's just one note. All the Doctors had, which is this great ability to switch between serious and funny, and make sure that that it's not out of place. You're not silly in a moment where it's actually quite serious, and vice versa. You're not serious in a moment where it's quite silly. You got to kind of go with it. So Eccleston's Doctor, who's been, quite cheery, he's been joking around with a pack of cards and all this kind of stuff, and we've had all the bonehead stuff and the plastic jokes and all that sort of thing, suddenly gets very serious. And then he explains TARDIS, T-A-R-D-I-S, time and relative dimension in space. And when Rose did this, I was just massive thumb up. And she breaks down. She breaks down and cries. And I was just like 2 thumbs up. Because this is the completely human reaction that would happen. You've just discovered alien life. You're in an alien spaceship with an alien being attacked by aliens, and it's tough. And even the Doctor says, it's okay, it's a culture shock. Natural reaction. And I'm not dissing any future Who here. But every other Who from here on in has always been, it's a joke. It's smaller on the outside than the inside, okay? It's always been a kind of a joke. But when Rose did it, it was dirt serious. And I know that you can't really repeat this too many times over. But it was perfect. I think it was absolutely perfect. And again, just showed how human Rose is compared to the alien Time Lord. So the head starts melting. So they've got to quickly try and track the symbol. The Doctor and Rose have a great argument. It's a great little argument because the Doctor is very disconnected. Particularly, we know why. The Doctor's just come out of the Time War. He's very disconnected from everything right now. Hence why he's travelling alone. And he keeps forgetting that Mickey... Well, he knows that there's a good chance Mickey's still alive because they're keeping him alive to keep the duplicate active that the Autons have created. But he doesn't confide that in Rose. He doesn't console Rose. And she's there thinking that Mickey's dead and she's getting mad with him for his lack of empathy. And it's just a great little argument. It's a very believable argument. It's not forced, and it just feels very natural indeed. And then he talks about, they're going to activate a signal, and I don't know where on earth they need a big round dish somewhere in London, centre of London. Where on earth are they hiding this? And then Rose is just kind of like, behind you, there's the the London Eye. And he's like, fantastic. So we get the catchphrase. And I would be remiss in saying that when they have the argument, it's broken up by her saying, what is a public, police public call box? Because it's 2005. And of course, this is a 1950s thing. I mean, even in the 60s, police boxes were virtually gone, if not phased out. So it was such a great switching conversation. And God, RTD, sir, you are magnifique. And of course, all of this action, all of this pacing is going along again to Murray Gold's phenomenal music, and Phil Collinson producing this episode as well. Everything was just perfect. So they find a way in to go down below. She sees Mickey tied up, so she runs to Mickey. The doctor wants to address the nesting consciousness, which is actually Nicholas Briggs, who's just the voice, as well as the Daleks and the Cybermen and all that kind of stuff. And so the doctor addresses him. I should really say. It isn't it? It's just a bunch of living plastic. And, we get our first hints about the Time War. And then the nesting consciousness has the doctor taken into custody, sort of. Has the vial of anti-plastic, which he's going to use, if necessary, to destroy this. But he wasn't planning on using it. Rose says, throw your plastic in, let's get out of here. And he's like, no, I've got to give them a chance. That was one of the great things. Even though the doctor's just come out of the Time War, even though he's lost everything, and we know that he's the one that pushed the button, thinks he pushed the button anyway, he still believes in giving everything a chance. Don't mess him up, though, because you only get one. And then they also have captured his TARDIS, believing, and they like the fact that it's superior technology. So everything's looking a bit bonkers at the moment. They activate the London Eye, which activates the Autons. Poor Clive gets taken out by an Auton after realizing he was right. I think he's actually going to be on the watch-along today. Everyone's panicking. Jackie's panicking. The doctor can't get loose. Mickey's a coward. And then Rose is just like, right, I got third place in gymnastics. I'm off. I'm going to do this. So she kicks one of the Autons off the ledge. The doctor flips the other one away. The anti-plastic lands in the nesting consciousness and kills it. And they get themselves out in the TARDIS. And the Autons all drop. And then Mickey's like, out of here. And the doctor gives his first offer to Rose to join him. And she initially declines, says, look, I've got a life here. And I've got to look after Mickey and all this sort of stuff. And you can see there's a genuine connection between the two. Remember, the romance was blossoming with 9 and Rose before, even, just escalated with 10 and Rose, but it was already there with 9 and Rose. There was a great chemistry between them. So he goes away, and then they start walking off, and then he comes back in again, and he says, oh, by the way, I forgot to tell you, it also travels in time. And then she's just like, he knows that's going to get her. He's the guy that's like, I'm cool, you like me. And she's like the girl that's like, yeah, but I've got a boyfriend and this is nice and familiar. And then he just suddenly says, oh yeah, and by the way, I'm a millionaire and I've got a Lamborghini. And it's just like, sold. Bit harsh towards women, that, but you know what I mean. Let's not play games. You'd trade up in a heartbeat, ladies. Don't say you wouldn't. And then she says thanks to Mickey, and Mickey says, for what? And she's just like, exactly. Which it is a bit harsh, but because she's still classing him as a boyfriend, even in later episodes. But it just kind of says, we're kind of together. You know what I mean? Yeah, we're sort of... You don't do too much for me. So, and there we go. And that's the end of the episode. She runs into the TARDIS. And then it's next time on Doctor Who. I think this is a beautiful episode. Absolutely beautiful episode. Perfect. In the way that it introduces the characters. All the main characters of the series. The Tylers, the Mickey, the Doctor, and the companion. And the fact that it's seen predominantly through Rose's eyes is perfect. Absolutely perfect. Again, because she's the human element and she's the one that we empathise with and she's the one that we can appreciate and understand the complexities of what's going on. And yeah, I was hooked. I was hooked and could not wait for more. God, wasn't Doctor Who amazing? Upbeat video! Let's not get sad, people. Let's not get sad. For absolutely great. Absolutely great. A near perfect start to the series. I'd give this 8.5, 9 out of 10. You know, it's just the little janky things here and there. You know, Mickey kind of like overplays the character in the first episode. Fine. You're trying to find your feet. That's all right. You know, a little bit of jank with special effects and stuff like that. So probably erring more on the 9 out of 10 side here. But just wonderful. Absolutely wonderful stuff. So there we go. 15th anniversary of Rose. A great watch. Absolutely great watch. There is a watch along. 7 p.m. UK time. I don't know if I'm going to be awake. I'm going to go for a bit of an afternoon nap now. I'll see if I can be awake for that. If I am... I'll stream it. I'll stream it as well. Obviously, I won't be able to stream the episode, but I'll have my headphones on and I'll be watching the episode and we can all kind of like have a chit-chat along and whatnot. If I get up in time. Simple as that. But I do hope that you enjoyed the vid. If you did, do give it a thumbs up and also subscribe to the channel. Follow me on social media and Twitch for live streaming. Links, they're in the description box down below. And I'll be back with some more stuff very soon. Happy birthday, Rose. You take care. Bye for now.